Yeah, I mean,
a few things. One, there was a hearing, a congressional hearing in Batesville, which was led by Doc Hastings, who is the House Committee Chairman on Natural Resources. And what you heard was a lot of testimony that, in some respects, not contradicted what they're saying, but also influenced. In other words, the Forestry Commission, the Cattlemen's Association, the Farm Bureau were very, very concerned about the impact on the individual property owners in this state. One of the things that I believe is that the Center for Biological Diversity is a litigation company who has almost saturated the West Coast. A lot of the things that we're talking about here tonight were originated by a company who has more interest in attorney's fees than they do in the saving of the environment. But they have, as I said, saturated the West Coast. So now we are a target for that area. And these gentlemen may never have seen that in our area, but I believe it's coming. The West Coast and the whole western region is probably, with these critical habitats, and the endangered species is probably dominated by about 90% of the land out there was owned by public land. 90% of the land on this side of the country that will be affected is now individual private property. So the magnitude of the effect is going to be considerably greater on us than it will be on than it has been on other parts of the country. There are the two bills that the gentleman mentioned in the back are really critical, because what they've tried to tell us tonight, and what is totally true, is what their major impact study is about is through agencies, not to us individually. In other words, this is the determination of these species. They don't look at how much it's going to cost and what the economic impact is on us as individual private property owners. They don't have to look at that. They may hire some guy, that's fine, but he doesn't come to all of the private property owners. These two bills that they're discussing, that's what that's about, is to mandate that in order to do this, this is an impact study that has to do with all of us, not just the agencies involved. Rick Crawford was his comment was, how important are our comments to the Department of Interior? How much weight do we really have? Nobody could really answer that, and that's not these guys' fault. They're a lot of guys on the totem pole. But the deal is that the Endangered Species Act really wasn't reauthorized. I don't know whether y'all know that. I didn't know that. But the deal is that we continue to do these things, and they're going to affect us, and we need to pay attention, but we need more. We need more people paying more attention, and I don't know how to do that. But these two bills are really important. All of our representatives are on this bill. Crawford, Griffin, all of them. So it is a bill that it's only 3 pages. So it's not like it's a big deal. So I mean, it's just really important that we look into those things. Call your congressman. That's right. Money, money, money. This is about the guys who litigate. These guys don't find anything with cattle, but Doc Hastings was saying, "I'm sorry, your Southeast regional director was there," and she says, "Oh, this only takes 30 days." He says, "Excuse me, ma'am, that is not true. I come from Washington State, and we have devastated a whole city. 12,000 people are not there anymore because of a owl. There are things that are happening that are unintended consequences to this, and y'all are paying attention, and I commend you for it. Thank you."
I think that next we're going over to the lady in the blue shirt. Let me just answer one thing in that, and that is that when I was the deputy field supervisor in Alabama, we handled 1,800 to 2,200 on average consultations per year for actions. It could be everything from a highway project, to something with the farm bill, and the vast majority of those we handle within 30-day consultation. So I do want to.
I agree with you, but the deal was that the Center for Biological Diversity didn't target you then. If it were between you and this farmer, you'd have a whole cut, it'd be all right. But when that third party enters and says, you know what, that guy's doing something wrong, that's where all
the impact that I've seen from the litigation is
That's why your promises
the
are
number of
empty.
listings for actually looking, you know, like for instance, because of the lawsuit and the settlement agreement that Scotty mentioned with the Center for Biological Diversity and Wild Earth Guardians, we, as part of the settlement agreement, had to go back through all of our candidate species. So these are species that we had found were in trouble in one way, shape, or form, and so they were on a list. But because they weren't our highest priority, they were on this candidate list, and they were, you know, some of them had been on there for quite some time. As part of this agreement, we had to go back and make determinations on all of those candidate species, and the 2 species we're considering tonight were part of that settlement agreement. So, that's the...
And the mussels had not gone down, the way I understand it from Dr. Noah Greenwald,
He works for the Center for
the
Biological
guy that was
Diversity.
there, the scientist said,
Roland?
here, yes, Roland and Dan, said the species for mussels has not gone down. In other words, we are not threatening them, and he says, I don't understand why we're on this list. You know, why they're on this list in Arkansas. And so there's a lot there that tells me that the Center for Biological Research are the people who are, in other words, or let me put it this way, attorneys who want to make money, who are not interested in the environment. These guys, all of these guys, and by the way, the cattle, yes, there was an instance where the cattle crossed something, and sorry about that, they had to build a 1/4 mile fence or something on both sides so the cattle couldn't cross, or they could at certain times of the day. It was a horrible set of testimony, so it definitely has.
Thank you, Scotty.